Cash. You see the numbers. That's our tale of the tape, and it is presented by Jackson County Toe.
Ben Cash is 7 years his elder, and Nate Perez will have a 5-inch reach advantage.
Once again, Brian Wood.
Bout number 3 is brought to you by Jackson County Toe. Been servicing the Metro for over 20 years. Big or small, we're always on our toes. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, Nate Perez. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, Ben Cash. Oh, baby, let's go.
Ready? Timekeeper, let's run.
Round number 1. Tonight's fight clock is presented by Hoy Excavating. Blue trunks for Nate Perez, blue and white trunks for Ben Cash. Hard low kick from Cash. Straight right hand from Perez.
Expect Cash to implement some of that Iowa State wrestling as he shows some improvements in his striking with Perez right now.
Perez working off the jab, hard feints. The kick not getting through from Cash. There's the teep. Switch of stances now from Ben Cash.
You do have to be cautious when shooting in on Nate Perez. He has his debut was a guillotine win in 25 seconds where he choked the guy unconscious off a failed takedown. So you have to be careful when shooting on Nate Perez when you have nasty front headlock chokes like that.
Perez looking for the right hand to the body, now to the low kick on the calf of Ben Cash. 2:05 remaining, round number 1. Cash from the southpaw stance trying to stay busy with that right-handed jab. A kick not getting through, well defended by Perez.
Those backside round kicks from both gentlemen will be a weapon they can use here from this open stance. One fighter standing in southpaw, the other in orthodox.
Low kick lands from Cash. Teep not getting through from Perez. Jeff Perez continually answering the kicks. They're initiated by Cash, and immediately Perez returns. Perez staying patient on the outside. 1:25 now remaining, round number 1.
Both gentlemen still trying to get reads here. This open stance is interesting. They're feigning at each other, throwing the kicks just to see for reactions, seeing what can land. Earlier in this round, Cash landed a good left hand that just landed on the top of the head of Nate Perez.
Kick partially caught. And Perez letting go with the 1-2.
Perez has good what I call crackbacks, meaning whatever lands, whatever doesn't land, he doesn't care. He's throwing back, and some fighters aren't used to being on the tail end of that. In sparring, you land a jab, both fighters accept it, you move on. Perez isn't accepting anything.
There's the kick that's caught, takedown. Ben Cash now in top position.
Cock kick.
Close guard.
Perez immediately goes open guard and starts scrambling them legs around, looking for a triangle. You can tell he's not just trying to chill out in his back here, but good awareness from Cash to bring his hands on the inside to avoid that triangle completely.
You see the base on the left knee. Ben Cash looking for the right hand. Trying to kick out, get back to his feet, Nate Perez. Perez, for the briefest of moments, thought about a guillotine.
He thought about it. Once you finish a fight like that, or if you're successful in the gym with it, you seem to think about that often.
Standing leg control from Ben Cash, trying to step over. Final seconds, round number 1.
Cash attempting to lace the legs there.
It's back to his feet.
It's a very complex technique to try to use the leg lacing. I still don't have much success with it, and I've been doing it for years. It's a very complex thing to do. We've seen Khabib finish fights like that and use it at the highest level, but it is tough to incorporate. Here in the replay, we see a high kick lands off Perez's guard. Big left hand lands for Cash. Teep lands, Cash catches a kick, takes down Perez, and that's where we saw him finish the rest of the round, was on top.
Our fight replays presented by Major Pack.
Not much damage was landed when Cash was on top, but he did have the control there. We saw the leg lace. It's a tough thing to do. A lot of times when you start focusing on the legs and trying to lace them up, your opponent's able to scoot his butt to the cage and start using the wall as support, like we saw Perez do there at the end. Good back and forth first round for both gentlemen.
Seconds out called to start round number 2, moments away. Two very talented amateurs, Nate Perez versus Ben Cash.
Ready? Ready? Time. Let's go get it.
Round number 2. Immediately taking center of the cage, Nate Perez. Simultaneous knees, both fighters resetting. Low kick from Cash. Right hand nearly getting through from Perez. Naked left hand nearly getting through from Cash.
I do find it interesting. Cash decides to circle towards Perez's power. From open stance, a lot of people choose to move away from the power and try to line up his power shot. And that's a common battle between Southpaw and Orthodox. It's okay to move towards the power side if you're doing it on purpose, right? It's okay to make it's okay to make a mistake on purpose, therefore it's not a mistake.
See the hard dips, the hard feints from Nate Perez trying to open up Ben Cash. Cash to the inside, right hand.
Big hook lands on the exit. Perez dropped his hands when they thought they were Xing it out. Cash lands a big hook right on the chin. And what I was about to say before Cash landed that big shot was that's the what could possibly happen. One of the, I guess, mistakes that can be made when you're circling towards the power is you walk into a big shot like the one Perez landed, but then Cash lands a bigger shot and seemed to have wobbled Perez there for a second.
140 remaining, round number 2. Slightly more muted pace to round 2 than we saw in round number 1. So two smart tactical fighters, nothing reckless from either man.
And this is the most striking I've seen from Cash. This is what you want to do. If there's an area you want to work on, a great time to work on it is in an amateur fight. And he's having lots of success. Wobbled Perez earlier in this round, lands a left straight.
Right hand not getting through from Perez. Used it though to close the distance.
For Perez, I'd like to just see him go first. He seems to only go first with his legs. I'd like to see him use his hands. He's constantly waiting to counter back. But if you're constantly waiting, you're at a disadvantage.
See the hand fighting on the inside. Orthodox stance of Nate Perez, southpaw stance of Ben Cash. Cash looking for the takedown. He hit 2 in round number 1. Now completes that takedown.
Scoops the leg out at the end.
Half butterfly guard now for Nate Perez. Cash trying to stay heavy. Now there's the closed guard and the open guard. We saw the very active guard of Nate Perez in round number 1. Right hand's getting through.
Cash going eyes over eyes here. Whoever has posture is going to be able to control, right? So if Perez has posture like he does temporarily right now, he's going to be able to use the fence to get up. Good on Cash to create a small angle to move him off the fence. And now he has the posture, eyes over eyes.
Butterfly guard trying to explode out Nate Perez. Perez now looking guillotine, really just a head chancery, just the control of the Ben Cash head. Cash with the left hand and the right hand. There is the bell. We move to the 3rd and final round.
Good little ground and pound towards the end to just solidify the round for Ben Cash. You see Perez having the right thoughts, though. He attempted to put an underhook in. Oh, here in the replay, we see a big overhand land. And then that was the hook that landed right on the chin for Perez. I don't think it was so much a powerful shot as much as it was. He just didn't see it. Here later in the round, we see some good hand motion by Cash to kind of disrupt the countering of Nate Perez. We see him scoop the knee out for the takedown. Ended up on top for the rest of the round with some good little ground and pound to just put a stamp on it. But the point I was trying to make was before Perez fishes for the head for a guillotine that you're most likely not going to get in the last 10 seconds, is he tried to put his arm in between him and Cash, and that's a great idea. Get an underhook and start using that to scoot your back up towards the fence.
Set to start the 3rd and final round. Referee Nick Barron's telling Ben Cash, you cannot legally extend your fingers towards the face of your opponent. It's either got to be a clenched fist, fingers up, or fingers down.
Good feints by Cash. He's fighting a counter striker in Perez, who only goes first with his legs. So having this hand motion feigning at him is going to make him swamp flies. It's going to make him swat flies that aren't there, and then you're able to land your big shots. Get him to try to counter air.
Both fighters slightly turning up the temperature here. We're into the 3rd and final round. 30 remaining in this final round.
Kick-heavy approach. You hear in the corner of Ben Cash, Jason High say no free kicks, and I agree with that. If you're going to have a guy that's kicking at you a lot, let's throw something like that after every kick.
Overhand left from Ben Cash.
Let's block the kick and return with something. Just put a consequence on it. Like, okay, next time you throw a kick, this is what's coming at you.
A kick not fully through from Cash. Perez trying to solve distance, trying to come to the inside.
And even the kicks that are blocked, Sean, that's like a baseball bat swinging at your arm. So even if it's blocked correctly, those don't feel good.
There's the level change and the takedown immediately in the side control. That was slick from Cash.
Beautiful timing on that takedown, just a blast double. Very elementary, you learned that freshman year, folk style wrestling, how to shoot a blast double, and he did just that. Grabbed the thighs, moved his weight forward, and used his head to push over Perez.
Cash from side control, the right hand. Lockdown side control now for Cash. Perez trying to throw from the bottom.
You can see the experience of Cash in this grappling department, just the amount of control he's able to get, the amount of pressure he's putting on Perez. I know at home it doesn't look like much, but where he's putting his weight on Perez matters. It's small stuff. The small stuff is what keeps your opponent down.
Trying to take the back now of Nate Perez has been Cash.
And as I say that, Perez does a great job of giving up his back to get up. If you know what you're doing from there, that's a perfect thing to do.
Cash had a suplex position, couldn't find him, and he finds that takedown, immediately gets the back. Beautiful. One hook now in.
Beautiful reaction by Cash there. Saw an opportunity to shoot again, and now right back on the back.
It's a gorgeous escape from Perez in the last sequence, and a gorgeous takedown to answer from Cash in this sequence. Now the explosion to turn into top position for Nate Perez. Back and forth we go. Perez looking to take the back.
Great job by Perez to try to get his back flat to the mat to get out of the choke, but instead turns in, ends up on top, and now we see Perez.
Perez tried to hit the belly of the back suplex. That would have been something.
Now we see Perez in the driver's seat here. He's gonna need a finish, I believe, if he wants to win this fight, but
final seconds in this bantamweight bout.
Good on him to get up, and here we see him fishing for the guillotine again. I just think it's a little too late.
The bell, the end of the fight.
Great action-packed fight for both gentlemen. I feel like I've been saying that all night, but it stands true. This was back and forth, and I do think Cash was able to put a stamp on every round. But a great learning experience here in the replay. This is the most striking we've seen out of Ben Cash. And we see the improvements getting made. Big left hand lands on the exit. Beautiful, slips the left hand, shoots for the takedown, blast double, ends up on side control. And then once again, slips the left hand, ducks under, takes the back. But Perez kept fighting the entire time, was able to work his way out, ended up on top there in that third round, and land some shots of his own.
The tallying of the three Missouri judges. Very competitive fight between Nate Perez and Ben Cash. Our fight replays are presented by Major Pack.
Nod of approval from Zach Cummings.
Our winner announcement is presented by Milagro Tequila. We send it to Brian Wood.
Ladies and gentlemen, all three judges score this the same way. Henry Geary, 29-28. Ross Swanberg, 30-27. Brett Miller, 29-28. Unanimous decision. Out of the red corner, Ben Cash.
Looks like there was a disagreement between judges there, whether it was Cash won all three rounds or just two of them. But either way, dominant performance Ben Cash showed drastic improvements in the striking department, where he's had trouble before, and the grappling remains a big component of his game. For Nate Perez, there's a lot to take away from this fight when you fight a good grappler like Ben Cash, and I think he'll do that. He's in the right camps, training under Marshall Kemp. And I would like to see him in the striking department. If I could just be a little critical, is go first. If you want to be a counter fighter, I consider myself a counter fighter, Sean. you can't just wait for the strike to happen. You got to force the strike to happen so you can counter it. So if you're first and last, it's hard to lose. So I'll go first just to wait for someone to strike back, and then I'll counter that. So that's one piece of advice I'd give Nate Perez if he was sitting next to me. But again, I think he'll learn from that. 25 years old, he'll be back.
Nate Perez definitely had his moments, but it was the takedowns, the top control of Ben Cash. 29-28, 30-27, 29-28. The winner by way of unanimous decision, Ben Cash defeats Nate Perez.